blood eagle was a method of torture and sacrifice mentioned in Norse literature. Today, we tell you what it consisted of. You have probably watched it in a movie or series like Vikings, where this horrible punishment has been represented. First, the condemned man was placed face down, leaving his back free. Then, with a very sharp knife or an axe, the person in charge of carrying out the sentence made 2 parallel incisions on both sides of the spine. Once the cuts were made, the ribs were extracted towards the outside with force and without regard. Then they used to tie the condemned man's hands to 2 sticks or stakes, one arm at each end, leaving a horrible image to all those present who were observing the punishment. Lastly, before he died, his lungs were removed. The open ribs and outstretched arms made the prisoner look like an eagle with bloody open wings. The legend says that the one who suffered all the pain produced without opening his mouth, screaming or crying, would go directly to Valhalla, where he would be received by his god Odin. Instead, those who lamented with moans would go to Helheim, ruled by the goddess Hela, daughter of Loki. In the 9th century appears one of the first stories in which the blood eagle is detailed. It tells the story of Ella, king of Northumbria, who was the victim of a Viking attack at the hands of the leader Ragnar Lodbrok. The king ended Ragnar's life by throwing him into a pit full of snakes. But the leader's sons ended up taking revenge on him through the blood eagle ritual. The historical authenticity of this practice is much disputed. Some argue that it has existed in antiquity based on writings from Nordic traditions, and others instead take it as fiction, as part of heroic sagas. Those who affirm that this torture is nothing more than a legend rely on the fact that there are no archaeological records, and that it may be a typical story of the folklore of the area, and probably built over generations for the rivals of the Viking Age, which were the Christians, in order to create fear. In this way, the adversary wouldn't decide on the confrontation for fear of being marked as an eagle and turned into a carrion. Some researchers in the field discovered that the practice of the blood eagle would be very difficult to execute at that time, but possible. They deduced that they could have used a very particular type of spear to disarm the rib cage from behind. But the technique had to be done very carefully, otherwise the victim would end up dying quickly, and that was not the goal. According to them, scientifically, any attempt to reshape the ribs into wings or remove the lungs would have been done in a body that had already become a corpse. These researchers acknowledged that the Vikings were distinguished from other groups by their savagery and the inhuman punishment they inflicted on their enemies. They had no qualms about displaying human and animal corpses in rituals. The blood eagle differs from other punishments not only because of its harsher part, but also because it carries with it the meaning of recovering lost honor, something very much in keeping with its laws and demonstrations of prestige. Whether true or not, in the Nordic tradition, the figure of the eagle has always been deeply associated with blood and death. What do you think, TikTakers? Is this torture a myth, or was it a reality? We read you in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, and if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode!